Hello and welcome to the third video in the Digital Leaders for Sustainability series. My name is Mr. Bowl and I've got an activity for you today called Cyber Shorts. This activity goes with the Childnet and UK Safer Internet Centre celebrations all around Safer Internet Day. And what I'm going to be showing you is how to create a cyber short, a short video using some of the software out there, which then can be shared within your school, within your community, or even wider than that, to tell people not only how to be safe online, but also how can we think about our sustainability when doing so. So why Safer Internet Day? Safer Internet Day happens on the 11th of February in 2025, and every year it has a theme. This year's theme is Too Good to Be True, protecting yourself and others from scams online. But Safer Internet Day is all about promoting the profile of online safety, encouraging responsible and secure internet use for all, raising awareness, highlighting things like cyberbullying, scams, privacy issues, empowering users, giving them the tools they need and the knowledge to stay safe online. And also, it helps us to foster better digital habits and supports kindness and respect in our communities. So let's get stuck in with our activity. Now we have a better idea of what Safer Internet Day is about. So, what's the challenge? Today, you are going to be looking to create a cyber short. Are you ready to become a digital hero and help make the internet a better place? I'm going to show you how to create a short video between 30 to a couple of minutes long about how to share an important online safety message. Also, can you include how our digital choices can make a difference or an impact to our environment? Let's look at these instructions then. Firstly, who is your audience? Select who this video is for. My audience is going to be children within a school. Next, develop a concept for your video and write a script. It could be you on your own, it could be a couple of you working together. Next, use film editing software to create your video. When that's done, can you challenge yourself? Can you improve your project using editing skills, captions, titles, transitions, sound effects, audio layers, imagery, humour, and a call for action? And those are the sort of challenges I'm going to be showing you how to do in our video. So, top tip, be creative and original. Or magpie ideas. Challenging yourself creatively is a great thing to do, but also don't reinvent the wheel. And I've shared an example for you to take a look at to help you get started. Now, before we get stuck in, I'm going to give you 5 different ideas of what you could do. Step 1, think before you click. For a safer and greener web, teach people to stop clicking on links and sharing personal information, and less links or less clicks means less processing, which can help the environment. That's the idea I'm doing. Number 2, you could be kind online and for the planet. Encourage people to be kind when they are playing games and interacting with other users online. And being kind to your devices too, by turning them off and putting them onto power save when they're not in use. Next one, log off and play. So managing online and offline use, challenging the concept of screen time, showing the benefits of having a positive screen and life balance, and how that can also impact the environment, obviously reducing the digital impact. Next one, keep it private. Protect yourself and the planet. Protect yourself and teach people to keep their personal, their private information safe. And also show how when you have less data, less information online, you are using less storage, which means it's better for the environment too. You can save energy. And lastly, the concept of spotting scams, which is very much similar to this year's Safer Internet Day theme. Think twice for a safer and greener internet. Help people to spot scams, protect themselves, spot fake news and misinformation, and remind everyone that online behaviour can help reduce the spread of misinformation, which ultimately wastes time, energy, and resources. There's some ideas. Task 1, talk to the people around you, have a think. Who is your audience going to be? It could be your parents, it could be your classmates, it could be your teacher. And then think about the ideas I've shared. What are you going to create? When you're ready, move on to task 2. So I've completed my first task and now I'm sharing and I'm going to write an unplugged script thinking about what my key message is. So my idea is think before you click. For a safer and greener web, teach others to stop and think before clicking on links or sharing personal information online. Highlight how fewer clicks can mean less energy use for a healthier planet. So I've linked not only an online safety theme, think before you click, to the environmental impact of this as well. And underneath, you can see my script. What I'm going to do now is show you some of the video processing software which you could use before taking you through a tutorial of how to use one of these and bring this script to life with video, audio, and imagery as well. Here we go then. Task 3. Use video editing software to bring your idea to life. We are going to take this online. I'm going to be demoing using Microsoft Clipchamp, which has some free features, quite a lot that you can actually use to get started, including stock video and imagery. You could also use Google Vids if you had a paid Google account. iMovie, if you have an Apple product or an iPad, would work really well. And also there's video editing software within Canva, which I'd recommend. Another one that you could also use is Adobe Express and some of the Adobe video editing software, which is really complex but amazing to use. To start with, I'm just going to take you through a quick tutorial of what video editing software looks like. And some of you may have experienced using it before, or you may have used audio creation software, all of which look very similar. Firstly, just to explore, this is the main preview area, right in the middle of my screen. So when I press play in a moment, it's going to show you the video that I've created, and it will show you each and every element of the layers I've built below and how they impact what is happening on my screen. Now, I mentioned the word layers there, and layers are essentially how you create a video. You have your bottom layer, and I like using Clipchamp because this sits at the bottom, and this is either video, content, or it can also be just pictures. These can be stock imagery, or they can be photos which can be uploaded. Then I have my next layer on top of this, and as you can see, I've used some text, some titles, and I would use this to bring the video to life and to show what is happening, like a caption or a title, as I mentioned. And then the top layer is space for me to add some audio. Most videos you watch will have some background audio happening at the same time. So that's how all of the different layers work. And now I'm going to look at how to bring those together in a very quick way. So firstly, when I press play, you can see I've got a video underneath and I've got text happening over the top of that. I've clicked in to change my text, and I've also used some pictures underneath as well. So don't think a video has to always use moving parts. You can also just use photos and put them together to create your video. And as you can see, my text is changing throughout. So the way that I've got this to work, firstly, is by adding some imagery. So I've either gone to My Media and I've added elements here, or there's a content library, which is where I typed in and I actually found this video. But it's very simple. If I want to use this, I can just press this button, the plus button, and it adds it to my timeline. And then I can click and I can drag it wherever I want it to go. So I can choose to order those. Now, that wasn't useful to have. So what I'm going to do is just make sure I press delete to get rid of it. and I'm going to delete as well to remove that gap. Those of you who've used this before might look for the undo button or something to help yourself there. Now the next part of my video, above pictures and imagery, is I've chosen to add text. So by pressing the text button, I can choose lots of different titles to put into my work. So for example, I'm really enjoying using this typewriter, so that's going to go into my work, and again I can click and drag it wherever I want. Now, the issue I have when that comes up is it hasn't edited any of the text. So what I'm going to look into now is how you can actually start to personalize this by editing text, and also how you can edit some of your imagery as well. So on the other side of my screen, on the other bar, if I just get rid of that for now, I'm going to look at captions, text, and all of these options. If I click on text, you can see it says typewriter, and I can change this to think before you click. And you can see it's changed the writing right in front of me. And then I can change the size, adjust all of these things, adjust the color, and I can start to look at some other things such as fade if I wanted, the effects that it has, and I can adjust some further things. So that's how I started looking at my writing. I personally found making the writing quite a lot smaller worked a lot better for me, and also I couldn't fit all of the writing in. So it's up to you to change your text and edit those bits. Now, if I actually wanted to, under record and create, instead of having any text, what I could do is I could have put an audio layer instead, or I could use text to speech, and that way my video would talk to me. So there's some fun features that you could look at using. Before we move on then, I just want to show ways of editing some of the photos. So if I go further forward in my video, you can see that this screenshot behind is quite dark, and the way that I've done this is if I click on the picture and go onto filters, I can choose filters, I can choose effects if I wanted, so that might be how you can get some transitions and things like this. But what I've done is I've simply just changed the transparency. So these are all ways you can edit your video in order to make it better. Now, before I finish and look at how to challenge your video further, some basic, really important features you need to know when you are creating any video or audio content. And these are how to enlarge, how to shrink, how to trim, cut, or slice some of your different elements. So if I take this bar at the bottom, a very easy way to trim is to pull in from the side, and you can see that that's affected the length or changed the length of my video. Secondly, if I chose to, I could double click, take it to a certain part of my content, and if I right click, I can split this and change it into two elements, and that means essentially I can cut part of it out. I just use undo to go back to it. So that's how you can trim, how you can slice, and as I showed, you can edit by taking things in. It's up to you now to have a go at creating your video. In a moment, I'm going to be talking about challenging it further using transitions and some of the other features in order to make it even better. Task 4 then, adding challenge. I'm about to walk you all through this on Clipchamp. Something to remember, there is lots of stock imagery, audio content, and video for you to use on all of these platforms. In my video, if you watch it, you will see that I've actually created some images and I've put an audio overlay, a soundtrack, using these features. And also there's some amazing frames, shapes, like, subscribe buttons, all that you could use. But for now, I'm going to focus on these challenges in a tutorial. Okay, task number 4 then. Can we add a challenge? So use your editing skills to edit, slice, split, fade audio and video content to enhance your video. So if I go and watch my video, I can see as it gets a little bit later on, there's sometimes not enough time to actually read some of the writing before it goes on to the next screen. So what I'm going to look at doing here is I'm just going to change the length of some of my pictures just to make things work a little bit better. So I'm going to use some of my editing skills in order to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag and improve the length of this last video like that, and drag my my text to go with it and put it in. Now this is my final video, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a fade out. So hopefully what's going to happen now, it will fade to black. And actually what I quite like doing is leaving the text up for a little bit longer, and then it means that when the video content's finished, you should be able to read the text itself. Let me just make the size a little bit smaller. There we go. Now, if I am going to fade out of my video, it's probably a very good idea to fade in. So I'm just going to mirror that, and I might fade the text in slightly as well to do that too. I'm going to make the fade in longer for the video content than for the text. Okay, I think that looks a little bit better. Let's look at some other ways to challenge my video. So I've got some layering, I've got some audio visual layers. I wonder if there's any maybe picture-in-picture opportunities that I could be using. So I've got a picture here and I've got some text. Okay, so what I could do if I wanted to is I could duplicate this video, layer it on top, and what's going to happen is I should be able to grab hold of that video, shrink it, and if I took the fade out off, you'd be able to see that it sits picture in picture. So why might this be useful? Well, if I press play, you'll be able to see it looks quite cool because you can have a still image with a video playing as well. But that might be a really good thing to do if you want to add logos or a couple of pictures as something develops over the top of itself. And as this is Save for Internet Day, maybe I might put a logo on it to say it's Save for Internet Day, and then maybe I might include a credit at the end to say that it is my content and who it's by. So that is all using layering in those ways. Also, just to add some ideas, there is the audio feature, and within audio there's things like effects. So I could be looking to put some effects in. I could also be looking to find some sound effects, and I know some of the video editing software will have little sound effects that you can add, for example like the splash sounds or like an ice sound if you're going from transition to transition. Which now brings me on to transitions. So what do we mean by this? Transitions, quite similar to fade, are a really nice way to bring two different bits of video content together. So if I add a transition in, I could do a crossfade, I could do a cross blur. There's lots of options about what I could do. I imagine a cross blur is probably going to look quite good. So let's have a look and see what that looks like. Okay, so what it does is it takes the harshness essentially of two bits of video content coming together and it softens that. So it's a really nice way just to put these in and make your video look really a bit more professional. So here's another feature. What I actually like doing is I like using a consistent transition across all of mine. I just think it looks a little bit better personally, but that is up to you as the director to choose what you think works best for you. So that's another way that you could challenge your work. Now, I've already explored adding elements such as captions, text, and transitions. The last thing, which might be a really good thing for you to do, is to add something like a call to action. So to bring your video together, not only have you shared an original idea, not only have you given some tips, but can you encourage people after watching this video to do something differently and how they can become digital heroes as well. So if I go right to the end of my video, I've used this text: safer clicks, a safer web, and a safer planet. And a greener planet. So that is quite a nice way of bringing everything together, consolidating my message. But maybe I could just add one last little text. And if I have a look at some of the options, this might be quite a nice one: double lines. And you can see it's stacked on a different layer. And if I just change this, become a digital hero today. I'm going to play and just see what it looks like. And as you can see, because of the way it's just been put together, I need to trim it or edit the position of it just so it looks a little bit better. Become a digital hero today. There we go, that works quite nicely. I'm just going to see if I can change the line color. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add that to orange. The reason I'm going to make it orange is because I'm going to put in some logos to do with Safer Internet Day there as well, to bring everything together. So there we go. There's some ways to challenge yourself a little bit further, some ways to enhance your video. And lastly, what you need to make sure you've done when your video is all put together is, of course, you are going to share your video. So the way to do this is export it, choose whatever file it is you want to use. This is about the pixelation, so the quality, and save it to your computer, and maybe you can save it to Google Drive or you can share that video. But let's jump back to the activity and see how we can progress from here. I hope you have been able to challenge yourself a bit further. So there it is. You should now have created your cyber short, an online safety video which focuses on helping people to become digital heroes, and you might also have underpinned this with a deeper theme of how to be not only safe online, but sustainable. So increase your impact. Share your video with your peers, share your content in your schools, maybe as part of the Safer Internet Day celebration, or share your video widely, like mine on YouTube. But if you are going to inspire your local and global community, remember, you need to be asking permission in order to do so first. Thank you very much, and please share with #DigitalLeadersForSustainability. Thanks.